Thank you very much. Mr. Kyncl, where are you? Good. Good to see you.
Thank you, Yossi.
First of all, I have to make a confession. You will be responsible for ruining my marriage. Because not one time my wife came at 4 o'clock in the morning down to my home office to see why I didn't go to sleep. And she found me either looking on a movie from the 30s or listening to some lecture. And I really can say that YouTube really added a very important dimension to my life. And if you people think that flattery will not get you anywhere, you are very wrong, as you see now. So with your permission, if it's okay with you and the audience, we have short time, but I would like to take like 2 minutes and to share with the audience one of my most favorite pieces on YouTube. Will it be okay?
Sure.
Okay, can you please play? Enjoy. It is one take. How did you like it? And of course, before YouTube, you didn't have any chance to see it. Robert, tell us what is YouTube today, please.
First of all, I have a bone to pick with you. I was looking at my badge, and I don't see any YouTube URL on it, even though you have a YouTube channel for DLD. What's wrong with that?
That's a good question. We are old-fashioned. We can fix it. We will fix it.
Anyway, so what's YouTube today? Today, YouTube is I would say, unlike Netflix, which is very focused in its programming on movies and TV shows and staying away from other formats. YouTube is a lot broader because it's an open platform, so it's a bit more difficult to restrict it. And so what you see on YouTube is huge amounts of music, huge amounts of gaming, huge amounts of kids content, comedy, general entertainment, how-to. So it's, I kind of describe it as the cable television platform. Just like cable TV had music choice on it, it just, all of it works in the way that Reed described, which is it's on demand, it's on all screens, it's very fluid.
How much content is being uploaded every month, week, day,
Sure.
minute, second?
It's 400 hours of content every minute.
400
So
hours
that's
of
being
new
ingested.
content per minute.
Yeah.
And how can you find your way through this amount of content?
Same, I pretty much read all of my speech because it's the same principles. The scale of the content is so large that it is humanly impossible to organize that. So you have to use machine learning to do that and algorithms, and detect what are the elements and have the right metadata and detect the right elements and the right user behavior, and just match the user with the right piece of content that we think you will enjoy and engage with us more.
But you still have kind of human curating by channels of people, etc.
Sure, but that's crowdsourced curation, right? So it's the content creators themselves, just like DLD curating its own channel, and so that way it's scalable. But in addition to it, we have an overlay of algorithms.
How many such channels, or how many people are owning channels?
How many people what?
Own a channel.
So we have 20 million content partners. So these are people
20 million counterparts.
Yeah, who have agreements to monetize content on YouTube.
What are you doing to the other video industry? What is your effect?
I would say, similar to what Reed said, that so far the effect, I like to say that between Netflix and YouTube, I've been in like 13 years of video disruption, haven't disrupted nothing, because there has not been much of a decline in consumption of traditional TV.
What do you say about this new yearning to television, which is the first time I heard that somebody say television was so intelligent, and now it's so unintelligent? While I grew on the idea that television is an invention of the government in order to reduce the IQ of the voters to ensure the next generation of voters.
I think, television evolved from broadcast to cable, and now cable is evolving into internet. And each new platform introduced greater content diversity, and that content diversity increased engagement of viewers with the video content. So I think so far you've seen the impact from that, from cable and satellite platforms, increase in the diversity, and now the internet is continuing that diversity increase. So I think the overall engagement with video is increasing, which is why, what I said was after 10 years of disrupting video, we haven't disrupted anything because we've actually just expanded the market so far.
How many viewers do you have?
It's over 1 billion every month.
Over 1 billion. And how they are divided geographically?
So 82% of our consumption happens outside the United States. So we've grown tremendously all around the world.
Growing, going down?
It's growing 60% year on year.
No, I mean the out of United States market share.
Oh, it's growing. It's growing, yeah. It's YouTube's quite popular all around the world.
Good. And like for the first 3 years that after you invested in YouTube, all the experts said what's going to be with YouTube. It's a great engagement, but no revenues, etc. How well you were able to crack this challenge?
Yeah, it's what we did. I like to call the first stage, the first 3 years post-acquisition by Google. I like to call it the sort of expansion stage. So we really focused on getting to scale. Then, around 2009, Eric Schmidt at that time said, "Okay, guys, now it's time to grow up and start turning on the revenue." And so since then, we began the monetization stage.
Can you share numbers with us?
No, I can't.
Can you make an effort to share?
That's the benefit of being part of a larger company, that we don't have to deal with quarter-by-quarter assessments. But what I can share is that...
What were the 1940 numbers?
For the last 4 years, we've grown revenue 50% year on year and continue to do so. So it's growing incredibly rapidly, very closely, trailing consumption. And there is tremendous shift of advertising online, and video today is gaining a very large share and growing very rapidly. So we feel great about it, and especially, on mobile, it's growing at twice the rate. So
you understand that Google claimed that this is the company to arrange the information of the world, and you gave us a very long answer with zero information.
Yeah, it's,
Okay, so we will not know what is the revenue. Who are the rest of the players in the space?
Well, there's actually more and more players every single day. There was an interesting thing that happened about 18 months ago, which is every other internet platform and every traditional platform, the way Reed described it, moved online into video. So you had all the social networks expanding from data and text into video, and you had all the TV channels expanding from analog video into digital video. So there's been tremendous influx of competition in the video space. And what has happened in the middle of that is that our business actually accelerated, because I believe that the sheer amount of people in online video have actually increased the general awareness of online video and sort of general satisfaction of it for average consumer, that the rising tide lifted all boats, and we have a sizable boat there.
Out of all the data moving on pipelines every month, what is the YouTube share
It
of
depends.
internet traffic?
It depends who you count and how you ask.
Any way you want to count. Anyhow, we cannot check you, so you can invent any number you want.
I would say the 800-pound gorilla there is Netflix.
I'm sorry?
The 800-pound gorilla is Netflix in that case. And, we're trailing behind Netflix. So.
Okay. Are you willing to express a view about net neutrality issue?
Net neutrality? Sure. I mean,
can you explain to the audience what is the issue?
Sure. So the issue is of preferential access to companies for bandwidth and quality of internet delivery. And we're obviously very focused on the fact, making sure that companies of all sizes have equal access to get distributed.
Can I translate it to English, what you said?
Sure.
There is an argument between the telcos or the infrastructure providers and the content providers how to cut the bare skin. And of course, the infrastructure, because these gentlemen are using a lot of infrastructures, the vendors want them to pay higher price. And they claim that everybody has to pay the same. Would this be a good summary of the issue for beginners?
Yeah, and I think the unfortunate consequence of that becomes that small companies may not be able to afford to do that, and then they're disadvantaged. So you don't want to live in a world where it's harder for a small company to break out. That's the root of the issue.
Tell me about advertising a little bit. You don't want to share with us the revenue, so what we can do. But did you see the talk of Scott Galloway this morning?
No, I haven't.
You should. You should. I guess
I'll
it
watch
will
it
be
on your
available
YouTube
on YouTube. And he said that the diminishing part of television also changed the nature of consumption. For instance, fast-moving consumer goods were very big on television. They are not so big on the new media. Market share is going down, etc. Can you tell us what is the effect of YouTube on the general pattern of consumption? Who are your major advertisers, etc.?
Sure. So I think there's two questions in this. One is the sort of the consumption patterns changing, and I actually think there's one notable difference. If you think about Netflix or any TV channel, they're the ones who are creating demand for the content. Right? So the content creator makes the content, and then Reed's algorithms create the demand.
Okay.
In case of YouTube, it's the algorithms creating demand, but because we're an open platform, the content creator can also help that and drive demand for themselves with the user engagement. And that's a big difference, because suddenly what you see is a rising class of creators who are incredibly savvy in finding audiences and building multi-million person audiences for their content. So,
Can you give one example?
Great example is, the German examples are Darum, Sami Slimani. They're big YouTube stars who have generated, phenomenal following on millions of people and millions of views for each of their piece of content. So it's the authenticity and the user engagement that they use to get tremendous amount of viewership. And so that's changing. So now you have greater competition in the content creation ecosystem, because this class of creators who know how to find an audience have entered the field. And then on the advertiser side, advertisers obviously love to shift to platforms that have a lot of consumer engagement, which we do, and reach those consumers. And they like to work with people who know how to reach those consumers, which is the YouTube stars. So that's why you see a lot of shift of advertising towards us, because we're allowing them to meet their goals on the right ROI and deliver better on their results.
Unfortunately, I misused the beginning of our time by showing this clip, and we will have to finish very soon. But I want still to ask you two questions with the permission of the organizers. One word about the future of GoPro, Ocular Rift, new optics, glasses, all these things, about what the new optics bring into the game together with the video.
So from our standpoint, we're a very mobile-heavy platform. So over half of our viewership is in mobile phones, driving a tremendous amount of consumption. So the sort of VR experience and 360 experience is the first time that mobile is actually more advanced than desktop or TV. So we obviously have a lot of interest in that area, so we're helping any way we can, whether it's on the capture side or content creation side, to make sure that that content is coming to us. So we're incredibly excited about it.
And last thing, are you willing to play with me a short and fast game? Okay. I will say a word, you will answer with a word or two, and if you don't feel comfortable, you say pass.
Okay.
Okay, let's start.
Pass. I'm kidding.
You worked for Ray Hastings. Okay, Ray Hastings. Reed Hastings.
True. Oh, what do you want me to say?
You have to say something about it.
Yeah, it's true, yes.
What do you say?
True.
True, no. So tell us about Reed Hastings.
Something about Reed?
Yeah.
He's an excellent skier. No, he's a phenomenal boss, very long-term oriented.
Jeff Bezos.
Builds the right culture. Jeff Bezos, don't know him.
Don't know him. Hollywood.
Fun place to be. Lots of activity and lots of change.
Disney.
Disney. Probably the most powerful entertainment brand in the world.
Still.
Yeah.
Are you going to steal it from them?
No, because they have tremendous IP between Lucasfilm and Marvel and they're homegrown.
Telcos.
Telcos, the new power players. They have tremendous distribution across hundreds of millions of people and owning the payment relationships. Incredibly important constituents.
iTunes.
iTunes, I use it in addition to our own, Google Play. That's good.
Europe.
I was born here, so so it's always in my heart.
Regulation.
Huh?
Regulation.
I would say I wish the most for young entrepreneurs in Europe. And so whatever helps entrepreneurs to rise fast and sell their companies and grow their companies, I think is best for Europe. And sometimes regulation gets a little bit in the way of that. Larry
Page, Sergey Brin.
Brilliant guys, very long-term oriented, very long-term oriented, and investing into all the right things.
Susan Wojcicki.
Fantastic boss. I worked for Susan now for 2 years, and she's been fantastic.
Ladies and gentlemen, YouTube and Robert Kyncl, thank you very much.